Hey everyone, this is Ed Roth from Stencil1, and this is Make It Mondays, and we are live with you today. This is my video, the ninth in the series. I took off last week, so I posted some old ones to let you see what we've done thus far. So now that everyone's caught up, I'm going to show you some new, you see who's looking over my shoulder here, nice big deer. We sell this deer stencil. It's 18 by 24 inch stencil that you can roll out and paint on your walls. People seem to really enjoy this design, and what I'm going to show is how to do that on paper. So with the holiday seasons coming up, it can be home decor for fall. It can also make a great gift where you can make one-of-a-kind, unique artist prints, roll it up, and give it to somebody as decor for their home. And I'm going to show you, of course you could paint the deer in what would be traditional, I guess, brown, a nice earthy color, natural colors, but I'm going to modernize the print by using a variety of more vibrant colors, and there's other deer prints there. You'll see these are actually monoprints, and I'll get the camera closer back there in a minute, but you see they're pink, red and stuff, so we didn't do traditional with these prints. So just to let you know what's going on a little bit as well. Last week I was a part of a summit called American Made. Thank you, Elizabeth. For those of you who might watch this later, I am live, so I'll be commenting on comments that are coming through on Facebook. Thank you for joining us. I was a part of American Made, which is a summit that Martha Stewart puts together, and that's held yearly at her offices in New York, which is a really cool office to go into, and it's right on the West Side Highway in New York, so it's an incredible office, very inspiring to see this huge team of people working together. And what happens at the summit is all American-made products are there showcasing their work. You get very inspiring chats from entrepreneurs and how they grew their small business in the United States. For those of you who don't know, all of our stencils are laser cut in the United States, and that has been the way I've done it for, I'm going on 13 years, which is crazy to think about. But I've been doing the business 13 years, and in November, so it's coming up, lucky 13, and all US made. So what we did was we had our stencils at American Made, and we were showing people how to paint, like this is a big tote bag. Let me back up a little. And even though I was at Martha, I still wanted to do some fun stuff. So Martha's fun, but we went less traditional again, and these are some skulls on skeletons on a tote bag, and it's in metallic gold. So this is great to go, lug your books around, or go to the grocery store, fill this up. I think everyone needs a tote. I tend to have too many, but the other thing we did was we showcased our wooden ornaments. These are hi Hector. These are 6 ornaments that come in a package. They're wood ornaments, and I have some tied to this basket because I had them in the basket. So you see, we stenciled the ornaments, and we used modern geometric designs, bright colors. What's great about these ornaments is they are, excuse the noise. These are, I designed the shapes, and I sent them to a company that rehabilitates people suffering from addictions, gives them woodworking skills, gives them a place to live. and then, you know, their life is getting rehabilitated by making these for us. So when you purchase these from us, we're helping those people. So I'm so happy with these products. And they're eco, they're recycled wood, so they're like a composite made from old wood and paper. Now that's the perfect segue when I said paper and recycled materials. I'm gonna turn the camera around and show you what we're gonna do today, and it's really beautiful. You have to see this paper that I got at the art supply store, and we're gonna make these large deer prints. So enough of my mug. Let me get this around here. Okay, I'll show you a few things and how I work, and hopefully that'll inspire you to, you know, make your own prints in your own very style. So it's not an exact like do this step by step. It's kind of I'll show you my process, and then you can take it from there. So here's some small prints I used using our spray inks, and if you haven't seen those, here's my drawer of inks. That's a very messy looking one. Here's one. These spray inks are awesome for fabric and paper, and I put a stencil down and sprayed 2 colors onto this handmade deckled edge paper, which now I have a whole collection of deer prints here that I can frame, give out, etc. Now here's a larger version, and that's what I'm going to make today and show you how I do that, because over here in this tube is the 18 by 24 deer stencil, and all you do is roll it out, and I'll show you how I'll paint on paper today. These I made in my friend Lazaro's monoprint studio in Miami, and monoprinting is a whole other process, but we'll get a similar effect. And as you see, I did not go with traditional colors at all, but they're really get a unique texture when you're stenciling and monoprinting. These are behind plastic, so that's the shine. Check this out. Look at this paper. I'm kind of really into it. I got it at the art supply store. But you can see here, for example, see it's all made of recycled paper. See the little type of something left over from the paper they used. So I just think it's super beautiful and colorful and got that handmade look to it. There's a few other pieces underneath of more simple paper. You guys like that? Thank you for the hearts. Look at this handmade paper. I'm kind of freaking out. It has like baby's breath and flowers literally in it. So for some spring, like you see the strings of the, I'm like got the chills from this paper. Some amazing artist made this paper, and I was fortunate enough to find it at the paper store. That is just calling for some spring theme to it for me. But I'm gonna paint on this speckly, colorful paper today, and I pulled out some more vibrant colors like this, and I'm gonna paint them into the deer stencil. I want to show you another trick I use, one of my tricks of painting. Look at this. I organized my stuff in these bins, and this says old brushes. So I know this is a little crazy, but I don't throw away brushes, and these are like hard as rocks here. So they're just like crumbly old brushes. Like look at this one, and it's freebie I got at a trade show, Valspar. I like their paints. So these are hard, but what you can do with old brushes is you can still paint with them and get very unique brush strokes and line marks, and it'll give it more of a, let's say, rougher look to it. So I don't throw away the brushes, I reuse them for like unique brushstroke applications. All right, I'm gonna mount the camera so I can use two hands to unload the stencil from the tube. Bear with me. Okay. All right, I'll start here and then I'll move the camera again. So here's the tube, and the stencil comes in one piece in it. So I'm just gonna show you that. And these are washable, reusable as well. So here it is. You get the whole stencil in one piece. You don't have to mess with, you know, how do I put it all together. And what I always say is put a little spray adhesive on the back of the stencil to make it hold to the surface. Now, we are going to be painting on paper, and then you're going to stick this onto the paper, but it's such a low-tech adhesive that it won't glue to the paper, so you don't have to worry about that. So actually, I'll just spray the back of it right here. Let's see. I'm gonna bring you closer. Okay. All right, how's that? Okay, so this is the back of the deer, let's say. It's up to you which side you want. So I'm going to, it's spraying sideways. There we go. I'm just going to spray, you know, I have a piece of paper in between now, so lightly spray the back of the stencil and let it dry. You got to let it dry like a nice 30 seconds to a minute, and I'm doing this so that all these little pieces stay flat and I get the detail of them when I'm painting. Okay, so now I'm going to place the stencil down on the paper exactly where I want the deer to appear. So I'll make sure it's centered as I want it. And then I can push down those parts that have a little adhesive on the back of them. So I know that's like kind of white on white, but you get the idea, and you'll start to see it more as I paint. Now, what paint am I going to use on paper? Well, you can use art inks. You can also use, if the paper's thick and sturdy enough, you can go lightly and use acrylics. Now, I'm going to start with my stencil brushes, but what I'm going to do is, and it's really up to you, you can use one solid color. I want this deer to look kind of colorful and different, so I'm going to use a variety of colors. One thing I do like to do is, if there's detail, I like to use a darker color, like in the eyes of this deer. I want it to look really clear. So I'm gonna start with this larger stencil brush and this navy blue. And I always say, stenciling, you don't use a lot of paint. And so there's very little paint on the brush here. And in the open areas of the stencil, and I'm going for a rougher look, so if you want to be, well, I'll show you how to be really neat first. So if you want to be really neat, you just do an up and down motion like this, and you slowly fill in your design. If there's a flap, like there's a flap right here, see? I can go the direction of the flap of plastic mylar to make sure that that doesn't ride up when I'm painting. Somebody said, where do I start and in what direction? So I tend to paint from outward in, And if there's a flap, I sort of am pushing down that flap of Mylar. So I hope that helps a little bit. And then you can go in a circular motion to fill in your design as well. You might want to, paper has that texture to it where you can see the bumps. So do you want to see the bumps? Do you want it to look dry, or do you want it to look really filled in? So that's up to you. What I'm doing is I'm going to leave it a little dry, then I'm going to go in with another color. So I'm going to kind of blend on the fly. It's one of the things I like to do in painting. So I can paint in, the face, let's say, and some of the ears. It's fun to paint. You're painting paper, which is great, and you're painting an artist print. So in no time at all, you can, fully make a piece of art for somebody or for yourself. So let's see, how far am I on the camera? So I could use a little more blue down here in the body of the deer. Tilt this. How's that? Just kind of starting to get the design down. And see, again, I'm going for a rough look here. And then I can switch brushes and bring in possibly, let's say, maybe this more bright blue. And I can put that into the, I'm thinking as I do it, I'm like, what should I do? Putting it into the drier areas of the where I just painted with the dark blue, and then the body of the deer I can fill in with this bright blue. And your colors will start to blend, which is nice if you just painted with the blue, the dark blue, and then now into the light blue. I tend to just kind of experiment a bit, and I know experimenting sometimes sounds expensive because you're like, well, how much was that handmade paper? But I have painted a lot on cardboard first. So I learned on cardboard. I always say, don't throw away the pizza box. Like, just paint on the pizza box or whatever cardboard you get into your hands. Just practice on that. And cardboard has a really cool look anyway. So now I'll shift this up here. Painting in the, you want all the points of the antlers to show nicely. But this is far from a boring print. I want it to look colorful and interesting and have a variety of life to it. So I think it'll go nicely with this paper that has all these different speckles in it, right? And then definitely gets like a street art vibe to it with the color. So then I start experimenting a little more, where now I'm picking up some dark blue again and pulling it over what I just painted. And I don't know, let me get this here. Kind of want to see those, what would you say, strokes. Maybe I want it to look a little rough and not blended in so perfectly. So this is definitely going to be an experiment. I don't know what it'll look like when we're done, but I hope it looks cool. Now I do have some orange and red as well, so I can start to bring in just some other color. And if you don't want it to blend too much, you can, let me do this like right here. You can just kind of drop it in like that. because if I start swirling, it'll certainly start to blend and become like a muddier color. But, you know, I want this painting to just have some unusualness to it. So I think the antlers can have some color in them. And here I'm pushing the paint a little more, get a little more blend, and, you know, blend from orange to blue. I'm not sure how this will look. And then, you know, put some more orange into the painting itself. The deer's face, possibly a little bit. I hope this just inspires you to go free, you know, use whatever colors you want. Then I can use a little brush for some red. You just gotta feel it out. What do you think will look great or interesting? Put a little speckles of red in here just to kind of see what happens. But the bottom line is, if you use the dark stencil paint in the main area of the face, you will clearly see your design, and then the rest will just look like expression and like you know, artistry. So I can show you now what this looks like, and then show you how I add to it sometimes with those old brushes. So just want to make sure everything's filled in. All right, let's lift this. So there you go. Let me get the stencil out of the way. Now remember, your stencil is washable, reusable, so you can do it again and again. I think this is very, very vibrant and fun, and I haven't done something like this one yet, so he's quite beautiful. And you see all that color usage in there. Now he's very clean, right? It's still very a clean design. I think that would look really nice on like a dark frame around it. Now for these other, and this is up to you, but this is kind of where I go with this. These brushes, like I said, they're like hard as rocks. So just to give you an idea of what I tend to do with them is, you see, they're so hard that this is kind of the effect they're going to give you. Just sort of some natural looking, natural looking errors, let's say, or sort of a urban landscape vibe. So if I just want some additional texture in the painting that doesn't look too contrived, I will use these old brushes and just put some feeling of movement, I would call that movement, around the painting. Like, here's a blob. Like, I just want like a blob here that, you know, looks kind of like, everyone likes to, you know, the sprayed look. So like well, not everyone, but I sell a stencil that is like drip marks and sprays, and people really use those a lot. Well, here's how to kind of hand make some without it looking too contrived or fake. So I just thought I'd share this one artist trick with you that I like, and sometimes I'll blend the two colors. See, I have blue on here and I have orange, and it's like, you know, it's just these, I don't want to take away from the deer, but I just thought I'd add a little feeling of street art around the deer, using some of the colors. and my old brushes. Let's look at, maybe there's, okay, this one's absolutely gone. Like, it's hard as a rock, it's got weird paint on it, but I think it would make like a great, it would make a great little shape on this. So again, it's just this way to get more. Oh yeah, and that's my last tip is it's really nice to get your hands in it and blend it a little bit. If something looks a little too brushed, you know, you just add a little of your own hand to it. So now, I don't love red splotch, reminds me of blood, so I'm gonna actually cover that. Now if you're noticing, you're getting into my head a bit here, because I'm just like feeling out what it looks like to me and what should change, and that's where art can take you, and you know, that's where you lose track of time. You're just like expressing yourself through this medium, and it is my favorite time of the day is to definitely paint. So I hope this has inspired you. I'm gonna show you the deer a little better, and here he is, nice and colorful. And I'll add him to the print collection here, and you are, of course, I'd love to see what you make. Let's flip it around. I'd love to see what you make with your stencils. If you're a traditional painter, if you're want to do something more, I don't know what you'd call this, vibrant. But I didn't want to just do a brown deer today. So I hope the printmaking Make It Mondays today was inspiring for you. And like I always say, please share what you've made with me at Stencil1 on Instagram, Twitter, all those things. Or you could email it to us, and we have a section on our site where we put up what customers have made. So this was great. I thank you for letting me indulge and paint in front of you, and I hope it inspires you. So I'll see you next Monday, and have a great day. Thanks.